usual, we're just going to check our channels to make sure we're definitely live all over the place. Where am I? Oh. And Kirsty, would you be able to check on TikTok?
Yeah.
If you've got us. I think we're live on Insta, which is good news. We should be live on YouTube, which is great news. TikTok's very intermittent, whether it allows me to go live. Yeah, we're live on there.
Yeah, we're live on TikTok.
Wondering, can I see the comments on TikTok? Yeah, I can. Okay, we're rocking and rolling. Okay, good morning, everybody. So this is brilliant because today is the first time. I think it's the first time we've had guests this season, and we've got a really special guest. We've got Leeanne Harris, not Roy, as I listed, unfortunately, on my socials, which I will change. Who's come to talk to us today about empowerment, through belief coding. And I'd never heard of belief coding before until I saw it on Leanne's Facebook account. And Leeanne, helps people with things like imposter syndrome or to remove blockages, emotional blockages, to help you, get the empowerment that you need. And I thought this would be amazing because a lot of VAs do struggle with imposter syndrome, confidence, feeling like they can't be assertive with clients. So I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for them to get some belief coding advice from Leeanne. So Leeanne, welcome to the VA Live Lounge.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Leeanne is actually one of our associates at LTVA, and she's amazing. And I just can't believe I didn't know this about you. Tell us about it. Tell us what got you into it.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Leeanne Harris, and I have imposter syndrome. Just all my life I've struggled and never really knew what it was because it doesn't really get talked about, does it? I've never really seen it. It's only recently in the VA world that I've heard more and more people speaking about it. But I signed up to belief coding about 3 years ago, and funnily enough, didn't do anything with it purely down to imposter syndrome. I was surrounded by all these other coaches, holistic therapists, people that have been in the profession for years, and just felt like I didn't belong there. I wasn't good enough. I can't do it because I wasn't a coach. And all of these thoughts kept popping up into my head. So I decided to quit. And then I thought, well, this is stupid. I've got the tools readily available to be able to change my life. And I just persisted. And it was only, I think it was the beginning of last year. No, the end of last year. I actually really pushed myself. It was hard because I really did have to sort of give myself a stern talking to and a bit of a kick up the backside to get on with it and to push myself through that fear. But I finally continued with the healing, with the training, and it's just changed my life. There's no way in a million years I would ever been able to do anything like this before.
Oh, really?
And even down to the working as a VA, I talked myself out of it so many times, and if it wasn't for belief coding, then that probably would never have surfaced either.
Wow,
it's kind of amazing, isn't it? What actually is belief coding?
So it's belief coding is the modality that I trained in is a fairly new. I think it's been around for about 3 years. So not many people have heard of it. But what it is in a nutshell is it mixes lots of other modalities such as neuro-linguistical programming. I've gone blank now. Programming, cognitive behavioral therapy, emotional freedom techniques, meditation, matrix painting. There's lots of other modalities, and it's kind of squished them all into one session. It's not talk therapy, and it's not hypnosis, but it is just a nice relaxing session that just guides you through to your subconscious mind to find the trigger that is causing that discomfort or issue.
Yeah. And we had a brief chat about this, didn't we? Because I said, I'd love to. I think Kirsty had a session with you. Kirsty, tell us about your session with Leeanne.
So Leeanne came to me and said to me, she spoke to me about it. And I'm very I don't know, is it going to work? So I have a big fear of driving outside of my comfort zone for whatever reason. Never really understood, particularly since Imogen, since Hardimi. And so Leeanne came to me and said, look, I know you you know, you struggle with this. Let me help you. So I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I went into it thinking, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. And she did it. Oh my God. Afterwards, it was the weirdest thing. The weirdest part about it was the inner subconsciousness. Is that right, Leeanne?
Yeah.
You know, when we did the backwards and forwards thing?
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on?
So that Kirsty's talking about, we call it the human compass. It can be called the sway test, and it's basically your subconscious mind. So your mind's made up of 3 stages. You've got your conscious mind, which is the thinking part. So that's your bit that's aware, that's logical. It's what you use to make choices. You've got the subconscious mind. This is your habits, emotions. It's your inner programming that helps you just breathe, walk, talk, do things. And then you've got your unconscious mind, and this is where all your memories are stored that then guide you to do things in your life or prevent you from doing things in your life. And the human compass talks to your subconscious, unconscious mind, and it tells you, like, sways yes or no, and it can tell you exactly where these issues are, and so you can go in and reprogram them.
Wow. And you made a great point there, because we had a chat about this, and you said it's about stored memories that you might not even consciously be aware of, but something that's happened in your past. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a traumatic thing. Can be the very thing that's causing these issues for you, these blockages.
Yeah.
And it's about shifting those emotional blockages. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly that. It could literally be something as simple as your mum told you to shush when you were younger, when you were crying, and you've taken that as a belief that I can't express my emotions in front of people, or something as simple as that. And then what that does is it has a knock-on effect, and something will trigger that. And then your subconscious's primary job is to keep you safe. So if it gets triggered, it will then protect you, and it thinks it's doing the best job, but it keeps you stuck in that repetitive cycle of this trigger. Unless you go in and release that trigger, it will continue to happen. It's when you say something like, oh, I'm never going to make a lot of money. Your subconscious goes, okay, let's not make a lot of money, because it thinks it's doing the correct thing by keeping you safe in that belief.
Yeah, I always say to my kids, like, I always say, if you tell yourself you can't do something, you won't be able to do it. Because I do believe there is something there that the brain then does. And when you tell yourself you can do something, you can do it. Would you agree that that is true?
Yeah, definitely. Affirmations and mindset work. So always, if you're constantly telling yourself you can't do something, then your body will believe it. The same as if you constantly tell yourself you can do something, your body will believe it. But this kind of bypasses that, and it goes straight to the root. So rather than it taking months or years for it to sink in, we skip that and we go straight in at the root cause, and we just wipe that. I don't want to say wipe it, because that sounds terrifying, but we just reprogram it. So rather than there be that negative belief, we just reframe it into a positive belief, so that it pretty much doesn't exist anymore. And then you can just continue. And that's the thing with it as well, is like, when you do reprogram that belief, it's like it never happened, and then you just all of a sudden just don't feel that way anymore. And it's just really strange.
Wow.
It blows my mind every time.
I've got images of Leeanne dressed as like the Men in Black now, with one of those pens, and she just zaps you. So is there like a common problem that people might come to you with that you see?
It's do you know what, it is so powerful. You can literally help anything. You can help things like relationships, self-confidence, self-esteem, financial goals, health, weight loss, anxiety, depression, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, fears, phobias, literally anything, because everything is formed on a belief. We're not born scared of spiders or scared of planes or thinking that we're not loved and wanted. They're all beliefs that are formed somewhere along our journey. So and the great thing is they can be reprogrammed.
So you're kind of applying logic to, you know, that mentality, aren't you? Because you said at the beginning you yourself had your own imposter syndrome. So through your work, has it helped you understand logically where imposter syndrome comes from? And if so, has that helped you personally?
Yeah. So definition of imposter syndrome is basically the persistent inability to believe that your success is deserved or achieved as a result of your own efforts. And my own personal experience is I've spent thousands on courses, like absolute thousands, and I'll get to the end of the course and I'll pass the exam and I'll think, well, that was too easy. It must be wrong. It must be a fake course. It must be because it was cheap. It must be, and I'll excuse my success and I'll say that I haven't earned it because of XYZ. Yeah. So imposter syndrome is basically that you're not giving yourself credit for the things that you've achieved, and you're holding yourself back. And so just I kept thinking that I needed to put myself in all these courses, but actually that was just making me feel even worse and even less worthy because I hadn't dealt with the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. If anybody listening has got any questions for Leeanne about this or for us, then just pop them in the comments. It's interesting. So I imagine a lot of people that come to you with issues of imposter syndrome are coming all with their own unique reasons for feeling that way. But for virtual assistants specifically, I think a lot of VAs definitely feel like imposters and don't actually hold themselves as business owners. Sometimes they just don't frame their mind to believe that they are a small business owner, and therefore they don't dream big. And when I talk to VAs, I always say, and so what about selling your business one day? And they're like, what? Look, it's impossible. Of course it's possible, but it's about having that belief that you're doing something that's building a business. And then the other problem is with a lot of VAs is they're not assertive enough with clients. They can allow clients to walk all over them. They don't charge up front out of fear of turning clients away. And I suppose if they had more confidence or belief in themselves, they'd be able to handle those kind of objections a lot easier, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so it is difficult because every single person comes to you with a completely separate story, and everyone's triggers are completely different. So what we do in a session is we sort of talk about the future goals, where they see themselves, and then we sort of work back from there to see what their triggers are, and then we work with that trigger in a session. But it's with imposter syndrome, because it does tie quite nicely in with lack of confidence, but confidence is completely separate issue, so that would have to be worked on separately. Confidence is just more of a general feeling, whereas imposter syndrome is more of a psychological pattern that you get stuck in, whereas confidence it's a bit easier to sort of, I don't want to say easier, because if you don't have the confidence then it's not easy at all, but it's a different scenario.
We were actually saying, weren't we? Our advice would be, when you start out as a VA, invest in a confidence coach, not a website, because you're going to need bags of confidence if you're going to be successful at doing this, because you're going to have pushbacks, you're going to lose clients, you're going to have problems to sort out, you're going to be able to have phone calls with people. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of things that you have to do. So confidence is a real, I think, a key skill you need as a virtual assistant. Would you agree?
Yeah, and with imposter syndrome as well, it's the over preparation. So you literally plan for every single eventuality, like every single negative eventuality that could happen, because you don't believe that you are worthy of this position. You plan for everything to go wrong rather than actually planning for what you should be doing right. So then you're kind of leading yourself into that zone in the first place. Because I did it. I used to sit there and think, oh my God, they're going to quiz me, they're going to test me, they're going to make me slip up, and they're going to realize that I don't know what I'm talking about. Whereas actually I should have been going in there going, they don't know what they're doing. Like, that's why they're asking me to come along and help them.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because I mean, even I do it. I still got imposter syndrome in different areas. Like, I started speaking at events probably about 2 years ago, and the first time I did it, I pushed myself out my comfort zone because I really didn't want to do it, but I knew I needed to start doing things like that for people to start really taking me seriously and understanding what I could do. And I do it a lot now, and it's got much easier, but I still get really, really nervous. However, one of the one of the worries I had was, what if people ask me questions and I don't know the answer, which seems really odd because I'm actually giving a talk about something I know. Is that something that's quite common, that kind of feeling?
Yeah, that's very common with imposter syndrome. You convince yourself that you don't know the answers, that you don't know, or that someone's going to trip you up and make you realize, or make a fool. It's more fear of getting it wrong or fear of failure. There's definitely a fear there of something going wrong, which
I do that on like a daily basis. So does that mean that honestly I do, like, there's times when I think, oh, something will come in and I've done it 100 times before, but I sit there and go, I can't do it. What if I automatically go, what if this goes wrong? What if I do that wrong? What if they ask me about this? Before I've even started doing whatever that task is. So I'm almost leading myself down the road of saying I can't do it, or I'm going to muck it up before I've even started doing it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've ever read a book called The Chimp Paradox.
Yeah, I think my husband had it. Yeah.
So you've got the monkey, the child, and the computer, and basically, if you keep feeding that monkey in whatever area, so it could be business, it could be life, it could be if you keep feeding that monkey, the monkey will just continue to grow and just take control of the other two areas of your brain. So the idea is that if you can keep that monkey under control in one area of your life, then it has a knock-on effect in other areas of your life as well. So when I do a session with people and we clear one discomfort, it then usually does have a bit of a domino effect, and it can help them in other areas of their life as well.
What if? Go on, Kirsty. No, go on.
What? So like, if somebody, for example, me, when I came to you, we had a session and we kind of dealt with that issue. But can somebody like keep coming back to you with like different issues, even though like the domino effect did happen with that situation?
Kirsty's lining up the calls.
Yeah.
Can you just recode my whole brain, Leeanne?
That's the thing, though. When you start to heal, you start to see other things as well.
That's what I mean.
Okay, let's work on that. So most of the time, you can, if it's a very niche subject, say like yours was anxiety with travel, we were able to work on that specifically. But with something like imposter syndrome, it is very broad, so that probably would take a few more sessions. Excuse me, sorry, my throat's going all crackly now. So something a bit more broad, like lack of confidence, self-worth, imposter syndrome, that would generally take it would take more than one session, because it's such a broad area, and there will definitely be more than one trigger because of how broad it is. But yeah, once you've cleared that, it definitely does trickle into other areas of your life. I haven't really worked on imposter syndrome as a whole, but I've worked on other areas, and it just all kind of helps everything.
Yeah, I know we're talking a lot about imposter syndrome. I just want to throw something out there, because I'd imagine there could be some crossover in the things that you unravel, people's past memories that could be quite traumatic, and you might have to then, I suppose, signpost them somewhere else to see a therapist or whatever. What if somebody came to you and the imposter syndrome was there, but what was feeding it was the fact that they maybe were in an abusive relationship, and somebody was constantly putting them down? How would you overcome that?
So your subconscious will only allow you to work on what you're ready to work on. So we wouldn't go to something that is traumatic that would trigger any bad memories. And if it is ready to go there, then we wouldn't take it to that exact moment. We'd take the memory to a few moments after, where they were in a safe place. So you wouldn't have to relive a traumatic event. And you don't have to go back to the memory. All we're dealing with really is the emotion, the negative emotion that has become trapped in that memory. So we don't actually have to go back to a memory. I've worked with people and we've just worked on shapes and colors and feelings within the body. I could completely digress and go on to body as well. Like if you've suddenly developed a really bad shoulder, that could be linked to a trapped memory or emotion. It's all connected with the subconscious. It's just your subconscious brain giving you a notification that there's an issue here, and then you can work with it. But yeah, you don't have to necessarily go back to a bad memory. I find some of the most powerful sessions I've done personally on myself is not going to a memory, just working with shapes and colors and feelings.
So how do you avoid going to a memory then? If you're, because I don't know fully yet, I'm going to have a session with Leeanne how this works, but how do you know, because you can't see inside that person's brain, as you're guiding them through the session, how not to take them to the memory?
So I should just give a brief outline of what a session is.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
We start off talking, and again, it's not talk therapy, so you don't have to tell me everything. All I'm trying to do in this moment of the session is just trying to trigger what that trapped emotion is. So all we're doing is talking about where you want to be, what is preventing you from doing, how you want to feel, and then that usually will bring up a memory. If it doesn't, then we can dig a bit deeper with the human compass, like Kirsty said, and we'll ask the subconscious where this memory is. And that again is just from just asking questions with a yes no answer, and your subconscious will answer it. Like, we'll try and figure out roughly around what age this emotion became trapped, and then that usually triggers a memory. And then as soon as we've got the memory, we can then go in and then just give the memory what it needed in that time. So the memory could be feeling anger and it wants to feel happy, so we just go in and we just make that memory feel happier, and we're just empowering that memory in that moment. But we're in the subconscious mind for probably 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even less than that. The bit that takes the most time is the bit beforehand, just trying to get to that subconscious memory, because a lot of people find it hard to leave their conscious mind, because they'll try and answer it what they think it is, rather than just relaxing and letting the subconscious answer for them. That's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, that was the hardest part. Yeah, just because you automatically just want to say what you think, like you say, you know what I mean, you automatically just think, oh, I'll just say what I think you want me to say, rather than actually what I want to say.
And it's never what you think it is either. It's always something that's completely unrelated to what you think it is, but somehow it's connected.
Yeah, I've got somebody on TikTok has just asked about their VA journey, if we've got any tips. Today we're talking specifically about imposter syndrome and belief coding. So if you head to morethanava.org, you can join our free membership and get access to resources on there. But we're going to be, if you want tips on, confidence and imposter syndrome and that kind of thing, then drop those in the comments and we can answer those specifically today. And like what you just said, is it's often not related to the thing that you think, because I want to talk to Leeanne about my current issue, that the blockage I have, and that is around money. And I think that this is actually quite common from my generation, where you probably were brought up with not a lot of money, or you were told, things like money doesn't grow on trees. And so I'm trying to build a scalable business, and I am scaling my business, but I don't care about money, and so I shop at charity shops and things like that. I'm still really picky about, like, I don't buy branded food and that kind of thing, and I can't seem to get past it. And the thing is, I know it's holding me back, because if I don't have this hunger and passion to make loads of money, or to be comfortable to have money and spend it on what I want, then how can I ever make the business successful, to the point where sometimes I actually know I am self-sabotaging. Like, I could literally leave leads on the table, like potential customers, and I don't know why. Like, I'll have messages from people or emails that could lead to a sale, and I don't respond to them. And I think I must be doing that on purpose.
And these beliefs, that sometimes they're not even our own beliefs. They could be absorbed from family members, from friends. Like, if your family were big believers that you have to work hard to earn hard, like, then that will be a belief. So then your subconscious will be like, right, we're not working hard enough to make more money. Like, we have to work harder to earn more money. So it's just a subconscious belief that your brain's programmed to keep you in, because it thinks it's doing the right thing by keeping you in that belief, because somewhere your subconscious believes it.
But like you said to me, it probably will have nothing to do with money at all.
Yeah.
Quite fascinating. But as I just want to come back to it, what if then I don't, because as I say, I'm still unsure how the session works until I'm in it. But what if I did? It did end up being that the memory for me was something that was not nice, because I'd been made to feel not, not, I don't know, not a good person, or I've been made to feel like I'm not worth anything, and that kind of unlocked something else in me. What would your advice be at that point?
Again, your subconscious will only give you that if you are ready to work on it. But if you feel that you didn't want to go into that memory or to relive that memory, then again, we'd just give that emotion. We'd still know the trapped emotion, because we find that out before we trigger the memory. So we don't have to work with the memory. We can just work with that trapped emotion. So let's say, for example, the trapped emotion was fear of failure. We could just work with that, and we'd give it a color, we'd give it a shape, and then you would just ask that shape what it needs. So you don't have to have a memory, and then the shape will respond. It sounds so mad when you say it out loud, because you're like, yeah, it's a yellow square, and this yellow square wants to feel happy and loved. And
it does sound a bit strange, doesn't it?
It sounds so strange, but it works, and it really does work, and it's just amazing. And yeah, it just blows my mind. I always say, if I could bottle the feeling that I have after a session and sell it, it would just be illegal, because it's just so powerful, and I just feel on top of the world every time I've been in a session with somebody, and I can see the transformation in front of my eyes, and it's amazing. I've had people coming in all slumped over, and their faces all hollow, and they just look so lost, and after the session they're just glowing, and they're upright, and their energy, I'm just, wow, I love it so much.
That's amazing. And I can't wait to feel that way. but coming back to it, so I imagine people trust you. They have to put some trust in you, and probably by the end of the session they're a lot more looser and able to speak. What if, let's say, in Kirsty's example, sorry, I keep getting some playback. She would have had the memory, she's unlocked it, it's all gone fine, it's the end of the session, and just before she leaves, she says, oh, it's brilliant, but and then makes a comment like her partners are always telling her what a terrible driver she is, and something like that. Now, obviously, this is nothing to do with belief coding, but it could be something that then keeps her in that fear. Would you I'm trying to think from a professional point of view, what would you say to that?
So after a session, it can bring up emotions or memories or feelings around what we've worked on. It can bring up other emotions, and that's absolutely normal, because we have brought it to the surface. So then you're gonna start remembering things or feeling things. Some people feel absolutely energized afterwards, and feel like they want to run a marathon. Some people just sleep or meditation, I always think, afterwards is really good for it, because your body heals when you're asleep. So if you can just sit there for a few minutes after and meditate, or have a little power nap, that does help with the healing process. But so what would I say to them?
So Kirsty's come off the session now, and just before she leaves, she says, well, it's just that my husband's always telling me what a crap driver I am. Now you've just done all this work with her. Could that potentially undo that good work you've done if she's got somebody? So that it wouldn't make it. Kirsty's going, no, log. That's what
that did happen, which is really bizarre.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. Like, and I before I take it really personally, it made me really nervous. But since I had the session, it doesn't bother me. I just go piss off or whatever. I don't really give a shit. It doesn't bother me. But that will be only since we had that session.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting, the comment about when you've kind of delved into that, you go back to why that memory is, that it does open other memories. Because I remember I was very emotional, wasn't I? I literally had mascara all around my face, because it drew so many memories that my brain had just locked away, as Leeanne says, to protect myself. And exposing those memories again makes you feel look at other areas of where this could actually really help me in my life. There's a really good point to say when your brain does naturally lock things away, and when Leeanne was talking me through it and really kind of delving into it, it does bring those memories to the forefront again. And actually, if I think about it more now, it doesn't make me frightened of those memories now. It sort of makes me want to not challenge them, but just go, well, whatever. Rather than, I'm not scared about things that were related to my anxiety with driving and things like that. So it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And do they last? Does whatever you do, does it last, or can it go backwards?
No. Once we've recoded that trapped emotion, once we've released that trapped emotion, that's gone. There can be secondary gains, which could, so say for example, somebody's got a bad back and they've come to me to help with their back, but they get paid benefits, and it means they'd have to look for a job and go to work. That's a secondary gain. So they might then revert back because they're gaining benefit out of having that trapped emotion. But most of the time, but we do discuss all of that. Like, are there any subconscious, what I can't remember what I call it now, subconscious benefits to it. So we do try and dig into that, whether there are any subconscious benefits, so we know that we can address that in the session. But that also does depend on how sort of open and honest people are in the session, because nobody wants to sit there and go, actually, I do quite enjoy getting benefits because it means I don't have to go to work. Or something like, I'm just using that as an example, but or it could just be like, I quite like not being able to do the housework, or I like having dinner cooked for me, or something like that, so there can be subconscious benefits to it, but if we're aware of them, we can address them in the session. But that would probably be the only reason if it didn't work. The other thing as well is you do have to believe that it works, because if you don't believe it works, again, that's a belief, and that's going to block your session from working. So you do have to come with a fully open mind and just 10 out of 10 want to believe that it's going to help.
Right. So these are the kind of things that could make a session fail then, not showing up with an open mind and belief, or not being fully open to the experience.
Yeah. And it wouldn't necessarily fail, because any work you do on yourself is beneficial, even if it's just like a minute little bit, it still helps in the long run. But that would be if somebody come back to me and they said, I don't really feel like it's helped at all, then we'd go back into the questions and we'd ask why is this, and it usually is around, well, I just didn't really think it was going to work. That's our belief, so we work on that first. Right. Or if they say and then we go back into the subconscious benefits and try and see if we can dig into why that's holding them back or keep stuck.
Can it take time? Do people sometimes struggle to, maybe because, I don't know, subconsciously they don't want to go to that place? Do they sometimes struggle to get there?
I did. It took me 3 years.
Wow.
It took me 3 years to actually, because I didn't believe, I was scared of what was come up. I've not lived a traumatic life. I've lived a really nice, easy life, but I was terrified that it was going to open up a can of worms that I wasn't ready to deal with. Yeah. So I held myself back for a very long time. And again, another thing with healing is you kind of, because you are digging deep, it does bring a lot of stuff to the surface. So you do feel like you are getting worse before you get better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I just kept going down this mine shaft of emotions, thinking, I can't do this. I'm just feeling more and more depressed. I don't feel happy. I don't feel better. I just feel worse. But you kind of do. But I dove into the deep end without knowing how to swim with my healing. I thought, it's all or nothing. Let's go.
Yeah.
Not always like that. You don't have to. You just have to push yourself to that extreme. But with belief coding, it's not always like, it can be an emotional session, but other sessions we've been in absolute fits of laughter, because it's just, your subconscious just comes out with the most random things, and we've been sat here absolutely wetting ourselves with laughter on some sessions.
It's so fascinating, because we literally go through our day-to-day lives in a conscious manner, but it makes so much sense that we do things subconsciously, because just driving the car. How many times have we driven a car and got somewhere and thought, God, how did I get here? Because you weren't
I
even
do that all the time.
and you're so fluid with those memories and how to do it. You're not even thinking about it. It's absolutely crazy that your subconscious can be driving your day-to-day decision making or your day-to-day movements, and you're not even aware of it.
Yeah, and that I really struggled with at the beginning as well. Once I'd passed my qualification, I sat there and I was like, I've just been handed this amazing power to be able to help people and change their lives, and I terrified myself. I was like, what do I do with this power? And yeah, I did. It took a couple of months for me to actually just be proud of myself that I've been given this gift and this opportunity to be able to help people. But instead I just got really scared and thought, no, I'm not qualified to do this. Again, the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this.
Wow. Even though you'd done the whole training, it is your brain does protect you. I mean, I've got this weird thing where I'm able to I don't know if it's probably not a good thing, but I can just cut people out instant, all emotion gone, right? Because I've had to do it in my life. But one of the things that I've realized I've done is I've completely blocked memories of people, specifically people. And I'll have somebody like close to me who's known me all my life say, oh, do you remember, so-and-so from, and I'll have absolutely no knowledge of what they're speaking about, but I really, really should, because we had long history or lots of years with that person, and I will not remember them at all. And I think it's because I've deliberately blocked that memory of them.
Yeah, it's a subconscious safety mechanism. Your subconscious is preventing you from being triggered by something. There's something that's happened there, and your subconscious has just gone, no, we don't need to remember that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, there was a guy, a boy, when I was younger, and I remember now because that person unlocked that memory for me of having to really go on at me about this person who I couldn't remember. And I think the reason is he told me I had boobs like fried eggs when I was about 10, so I think, or 11, that was the reason I blocked that person out of my life. That was very traumatic for someone to tell me that. I didn't get breasts till I was 16, and now I can't get freaking rid of them. Oh, but it is so fascinating. But the brain, the more I've learned about the brain as I've got older, it's just a really primeval thing, isn't it? It is just there to protect us. And I suppose we're driven more by the subconscious, or I suppose the mind, the spirit side of things that we don't see or know much about, really, do we? I mean, what is your mind? What is it?
We're not programmed for the world that we live in at the moment. There's way too much stimulation, and our brain is prepared. It's there to keep us safe, and this is what the whole fight or flight is. That this is why a lot of people do struggle now with confidence, self-esteem, imposter syndrome, and things like that, because we're not used to having all of this coming at us. We're either hunting or we're gathering or we're eating. Like, we're not used to all the stresses and pressures that society and just daily life puts on us. So people are becoming more aware of all of these triggers, but then feel like there's something wrong with them, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. It is literally just a belief that's been picked up somewhere along your journey, that your subconscious is keeping you safe from, and that's literally all it is.
Yeah, it is. You're right, because I've heard this before where it's so funny. We've evolved as people, but our brains really haven't, from the caveman days. And you're right. The simulation. I talk about this all the time. I always say to my kids, when they get up in the morning, the first thing they do whilst they're making their cereal, let alone eating it, is they're on the phone. And I'll be like, you just need time for quiet time, like with no distractions around, to just think. Because if you can't just think, how do you problem solve? How do you resolve conflict? How do you think through things? And it worries me that young people aren't giving themselves the time to just think. I mean, how are you functioning just constantly in decision-making mode? It's scary.
Someone once said to me, if you left a car running all day, every day, for days and days and days and then, the engine would cut out. And it's the same with your brain. If you're constantly using your phone or doing things or keeping your brain alert and active, it doesn't have a time to rest, to stop, to slow down, to cool down. You're just keeping it constantly going, and it's going to burn out. And
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not at all healthy, but trying to get that message across. I mean, last night, on a Thursday night, we go out and we play interactive darts, my husband and I and our two boys, and we brought and they know they're not allowed on their phones while we're out. That's our family time. But one of the friends came and he was just constantly on his phone, and it's become like a habit, hasn't it? It's just not even thought through. I find it heartbreaking personally. I really do. I think it's a really horrible world that we're growing up in, and we're manipulated every single day. And that's what it's there for. You know, my husband always says, what a lot of people don't realize is back in the Roman times when they had the gladiators, it was a form of distraction from the government, so the politicians, and it was to make sure that the crowds and the people were distracted from what was really going on. And that's exactly what we've got now. You know, that's my belief, is that it's big data, it's governments keeping us. You cannot tell me that governments aren't using those algorithms and manipulating us in some way.
And it's designed to keep you on there, isn't it? That's why when you look at a picture of a delicious cake, you suddenly get loads of delicious cakes and you sit there for 3 hours looking at cakes.
Yeah. And not just that, but, you know, if you've got your location turned on and you pause outside a certain shop, it knows that about you as well. And I just don't know enough about it. It's terrifying.
Me and my husband were talking about something the other day, completely random, and I literally went on my Facebook and there was loads of ads for it.
No, that happens to me too. I say to Craig all the time, they're so listening.
I don't have an Alexa because of that. I'm like, no one's listening to my conversations, thank you. So I think the thing I've found about VAs, I mean, I can't speak for all VAs, but actually as a collective, we do seem to have this common, like, we are, introverted. I always say I'm like a secret introvert. I am very introverted. I hate just talking to people, but I hide it very well, and I network and I chat to people. I'm an oversharer. I think that's part of being introverted, because you just start talking too much, and then I come away and go, bloody hell, why did I say that? But we are introverted. It's kind of why we do remote work, because then we can just remain insular. A lot of VAs do struggle with confidence, and therefore they allow their boundaries to be overstepped, and will probably, you know, self-sabotage in some way, and be struggling to get clients and all of these things. But you have to get past all of that, or come to Leeanne for some sessions so that you can break free of all of those things that are keeping you kind of locked into the place you're in. Do you meet VAs and think there's kind of a common thread with personality types?
Yeah, and it's exactly that. It's a lot easier to believe the negative self-talk, and to believe that you're not good enough, and to believe, because your subconscious, that's what it's doing, it's keeping you safe. Whereas to actually believe that you are better, that you are good, it feels uncomfortable, so you don't necessarily walk towards that light, if you know what I mean. It's easier to stay in the darkness and to feel those negative feelings, because that's what your subconscious is there doing. It's like, no, we're used to this, we like this is how we're used to feeling. But to push yourself out of that is quite scary, and it is hard, and it does take effort, and it does take a bit more work and energy on your part to be able to step into the light.
So is there a way that you can do that then yourself without having belief coding? Like, for example, my example of speaking events, that now I've done it more and more and more and more, it's become easier and easier and easier. If you get out there more, like you network more, it becomes easier. Is there a way to remove yourself from those blockages?
Yeah, 100%. And again, everybody works differently. So it's just about finding something that works for you, because what works for one person might not work for the other. So I'll give you a couple of tips. So journaling is really, really good. You don't have to do it every day, because I get quite overwhelmed with thinking that I have to do everything all at once. So you don't have to do it every day. You can do it once a week. You can do it whenever the mood takes you. You can do it whenever you feel like, oh, actually, no, I don't really feel like doing that. Just jot it down, write down the reasons why you feel like you don't feel like doing that. And that will usually give you the trigger to be able to sort of, once you've brought it to the surface, it can help just to alleviate it as well. So journal, and try and just jot down how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and how you want to feel, and that can usually help. Meditation, I don't know how woo-woo I'm getting with meditation, but just like you said, get away from the screens, just take yourself away from the telly, away from your phone, away from your laptop, and just sit there either in silence with some nice calming music, a guided meditation if you can. If you can't do that, then just really concentrate on breathing and just really take some slow deep breaths in and out, and just really lower that fight or flight feeling, just to keep you grounded, keep you calmer. And affirmations. Listen to some guided affirmations about feeling more confident, feeling good enough, feeling worthy. They do help as well. So flip the negative self-talk into positive self-talk. And just tell yourself you can do it and you are amazing. The only person that's preventing you from not doing it is you, and you can do it.
Yeah, it's great advice. It's really great advice. Before we let Leeanne go, if anyone does have any questions about Leeanne's belief coding, about the things we're talking about specifically today, then just drop those in the comments. What I will say is, although I find that advice amazing, one of the issues I have is what we've talked about. There's so much out there, and then you get advice. Oh, you should do breath work. You should do this. You should do what you've just said, journaling. You should do meditation. I'm now seeing Asian Pilates all over the place. And I'm like, it's just too much. Like, why do we have to do all these things? Why can't it just be simple? How do you overcome that as a practitioner of what you do, to try and get past those barriers? Because you must have conversations with people who are like, oh, I don't know, you're a bit skeptical because you're hearing all of these things are magical solutions, and they're not, are they? There's no such thing as I don't know, your thing.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. To bypass it all, just book a session with me.
You don't have to do all of the other crap then.
But no, I mean, any self-work, any inner work, it does take time, and you do have to feel uncomfortable to be able to become comfortable. So if it feels uncomfortable, you're on the right path. And you do have to push yourself, and it's not easy. It isn't easy. I've struggled for years with it and given up, and more times than I can count on my hands and my toes, so it is hard to one, realize what it is, two, to be able to work on it and to be able to push yourself through those barriers to be able to overcome it. But you can do it. If I can do it, definitely anyone can do it. So and just be kind to yourself is the main thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. It's just a negative belief, and you can push through it, and you can believe.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, that you're not broken, because I think that is easy to think there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong. I think that's a lovely way to frame it. I always say to people, not that you can do it, you are doing it. You're already doing it. Just remember that. I have this really weird thing, and I think it comes from my past, where when the chips are really down, when my back's up against the wall, it's better for me, because that's where my strength comes in then, and I'm able to say, you're going to do this. You are going to make this happen. And every time, it's almost like I believe if I could tap into it, I could move a mountain with my brain. And I really do believe it. And then I make it happen, and it happens. Yeah. It's just so powerful, because it's just a mindset shift, isn't it?
It is a mindset shift. And I know it sounds so simple, because it's not when you're in that negative mind frame, but it is all about positive mindset. And another piece of advice, actually. So another thing that I've done over the years is name the negative self-talk. Give it a name. Mine's Michelle.
That's my middle name.
So when you start to hear that, oh, you can't do that because you're negative self-talk, just say, oh, F off, Michelle. Like, just tell it to go do one. And it kind of puts it in a third person, and it makes it become real, and then you can tell it to go away, rather than it just being in your imagination. It becomes real, and then you can tell it to bugger off.
I think you have to know that it's a problem as well, don't you? Like I said to you about my issue about the money thing, I didn't realize was an issue. It was holding me back until more recently, probably this year, and I started to think something doesn't feel right and this shouldn't be right. And it's about education. Like I kept hearing things, like I'd see posts or I'd listen to a podcast and they'd be talking about this kind of thing. And I thought I felt like I could identify with it. So I suppose once you feel like you are identifying with something that could be causing you blockages and problems or self-sabotage, that's when really it's a good time to come and maybe speak to someone like you, because I'd have no way to unravel where those emotions are coming from. I don't have the qualification or experience to do that.
The best way to try and figure that out, I would say, is to write down your goals. So where do you want to be in life? What do you want to do? And then just work back from there. What's preventing you from doing that? Why can't you get to that place? And then that will bring up what your blockages are. And then that's where we can work, or where you can work on it yourself. So that's what I would say, to try and figure out what the blockages are, is just imagine your future self, where you want to be and why you can't get to that place, and it will usually give you the reasons why.
Or come to Leeanne as soon as you can.
Leanne's going to have a full diary for the next 6 years after this session.
With you, you're going to be the one booking
it. Kirsty reaches for bank card.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put a little. Are you going to put some links somewhere? I'll give the LTVA community the More Than a VA little discount code as well for everybody.
Thank you. Amazing. Yeah, we'll pop that in. So as people who tune in regularly know, this is a live session. So if Leeanne sends that over, I'll put it into the caption, and then next week it comes out as a podcast episode, and then when that comes out it will be in the show notes as well. So I think that's brilliant. Leeanne, where can people find you?
Here in my office.
So I have a Facebook group called Breakthroughs with Leeanne. That's LEEANNE. And in there I share, it's a private community, so people can share if they want to. You don't have to, you can go anonymous. It's a private community for just women who want to shine and feel freedom and be free of these inner demons.
I've just pop that into the comments. Breakthroughs with Leeanne. So that's on Facebook, and that's how people would get hold of you to book a session. Or do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's only a MailerLite page at the moment, so it's not a www. But I can give you the link for that. It's probably easier to share. But Leeanne Harris, Inner Freedom Coach.
Inner Freedom Coach, fantastic! I can't wait for my session with you.
I know,
I am so excited because you're going to make me a millionaire afterwards. And then I'm going to share the results of that with everybody. And maybe at some point in the future, we'll have a follow-up and talk more in depth from an experience point of view.
I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, let's do a before and after.
Yeah, that'd be great. And preferably when I'm driving around in a Mercedes and traveling first class all over the world.
We could do the podcast from the Lamborghini.
Oh yeah, we'll just do that. It's on the private jet. What are you talking about? Oh, that's fantastic. Well, there's no other questions. But as always, if anyone does have any questions you didn't feel that you could ask publicly, then you can always drop us a message or find Leeanne and drop her a message directly.
My inbox is always open, and because there's always so many questions after knowing more about it. There's always so many more questions because it's such a it's just so mind-blowing. So yeah, my inbox is always open if anyone's got any questions.
What is there an email address people can reach you on?
Facebook's probably the best at the moment. Yeah, I'm just
Leanne's building this up,
names and everything.
Which I think, because I've had a look at your MailerLite page, and it's really affordable as well. So this isn't something that's going to cost you, stupid amounts of money. It's an investment in yourself, and definitely worth that kind of investment. I think if it's going to enable you to do so much more in your business, it's going to enable you to do so much more in your life, then it's absolutely worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is life-changing. It's changed my life. It's changed so many lives that I've worked with already, and it's just amazing stuff.
Amazing. Well, it's changed Kirsty's life. She can drive now.
I won't go that far.
And that was literally overnight, wasn't it? Like, she literally messaged me the next day and was like, wow, what have you done?
Honestly, it was like that, like things like going on the train, because obviously I'm in Devon, so the train just to like the next few towns, whatever, it goes right along the coastline. And I'd be on the train before I had my session with Leeanne thinking, it's going to crash. When it crashes, it will fall over and I'll go into the sea. So I wouldn't prevent going on the train. On have a session with Leeanne, nothing. Right away on the train, down to Dawlish Warren, not a problem.
Honestly, that's amazing. I didn't know. I know we're finishing now, but I didn't know you did this until I spotted your Facebook page. And then me and Kirsty was on a call, and I said to Kirsty, "Did you know that Leeanne does this?" She says, "Yeah, I've had a session with her." I thought, "You cheeky cake." I
didn't tell you. I'm sure I did.
Oh, you did it. I thought she's keeping all of these secrets to herself. Doesn't want me to get in on the action.
With my slots.
Yeah. She's like, if I tell anyone, they're going to take up all Leeanne's slots.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Leeanne. It's been fascinating to hear all about belief coding. And like I say, anyone got any questions, let us know. But until next week, we'll be back on Friday, and we are talking about planning for time off when you're a VA. So that's going to be a good one, because we're going to come at that with a couple of different perspectives. So Kirsty as a solo VA and the struggles she feels she has taking time off, and me as a VA agency owner and being able to take time off whenever I like, because Kirsty keeps it all going for me. So that will be a really interesting one to join into. So thanks everyone.